Well, I ended up having the head decked, and it looks much, much, much nicer. Nice and clean. There's just a little bit of pit there. There's a little bit of pit there, but you can barely even feel them. The biggest one, which I believe was right there, maybe. I think there was one there. There was one there. They actually filled in and then decked it. So now everything is nice and smooth. So we'll just finish kind of cleaning that up a little bit. Yeah, it looks much nicer. So the main reason I went there was, if you remember this bolt from camshaft, the cam housing, I couldn't get out because someone had done that, and I couldn't get it loose. So I ended up taking it to the machine shop, and they were actually able to get it out. So I can now start tearing apart this cam. I'll clean this up. Yeah, we'll probably use that cam housing, because if you remember mine, I'll have to double check and just make sure, but mine had some scratch marks in here, and I'll probably clean this up, because if you remember, I chipped mine. So obviously that bolt will be thrown away, but I had bought a set of these to try to see if that would work, to get it around the bolt and extract it. But unfortunately, while it would fit over the head of the bolt, it wouldn't fit inside there. So at that point in time, I just decided to bring it to a machine shop and have them do it. It just made life easier. And then also, as I said, I ended up painting those nuts, or those bolts, on the air cooler housing. So once I get that cleaned up, we can start putting everything back together then, finally. So I think we're moving right along. Okay, so I am going to use the other tower. So that's the old one that I did polish up. So I'm just working on getting this one cleaned up. It's cleaned up pretty well. I ran out of my little brushes, though, so I had to order more. So I still need to get this kind of sanded down a little bit. And then I need to power wash this. There's just junk everywhere inside of it. So I was thinking probably be better to do that after I do all the grinding and everything. So, because I mean, the outside's clean enough that I can go ahead and grind, and it's actually shining up really, really well. It's shining up a little bit better than I think this one did. Now, obviously, that one's got polish and everything on it, but yeah, I need to get a few more of those. So what I didn't do is I did not use any wire wheel brushes on it. I actually bought some other types of brushes that had like the scouring pads on them. So I used those to get most of the big dirt off, and then some of these other like little brushes here, like this. Not this one in particular, but ones like that, to loosen up the dirt and everything on the outside. And then just use some purple power and sprayed it down, wiped it down, and then just started grinding away with those wheels. But like I said, I ran out of them, so I will have to wait. I ordered them. They won't be here till Saturday, so no working on this at night. Maybe have to find something else. But I am not having any luck with these. So on this one, as I was trying to get it off of this cam, that part chipped. So I got to decide what I want to do, and I'm thinking I'll use this one. One, it's cleaned already, and two, it's down there at the bottom. Nobody will see it, and it isn't really part of the structure that will hold the two parts together. I don't think it would make a difference, but I just think that this is just a little chip off the bottom here. So I think I'm just going to use this one. It's already cleaned up, so Yeah, and then we'll just put those back together. So I saw an idea for this. So I will let you know what we end up doing with this. But yeah, you might be surprised. So here's the two cams, and I just wanted to show. So this is out of my car, and that is the one that was given to me that I got taken apart yesterday. You can see, I mean, just the way that woodruff key looks. I mean, this is just completely trashed. So, yeah, I just wanted to show the comparison to those two. So we finally got enough milk cartons to get the oil put in. So got that put in there. So today's job is going to be cleaning. So I'm going to clean this up and just kind of work underneath there a little bit and get that all nice up and cleaned and ready to start putting everything back together. I still got to do some stuff on the cam house and get that polished up and pressure washed and get that cleaned up and ready to go on, and then vacuum out the block, because I don't know if you can kind of see down in there. There's a load of junk kind of down in there. But yeah, went over to Dad's to put shocks on his Grand Caravan, and came to the realization that I guess since he's got the towing package on his Grand Caravan, he needs a special kind of shock, a Nivomat shock. So they're like $250 a piece. So I don't know what he's going to do, but that's what I spent my morning doing and figuring out that he had the wrong shocks. So we'll get that cleaned up. I just rinsed this off. I really didn't need to clean it. It was still pretty clean. So I just rinsed it out with some hot water and just a soft bristle brush to get some of that foamy grime off. Got my new housing, my new seals, my alignment tool, my gasket, and I'm still waiting on this. It's been like over a week from 944 online. They said it went out last Thursday, and it's now Saturday, and still don't have it. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so that's the plan for today. All right, so here we are. Got a lot of it off. Problem is it really kind of needs to be rinsed and washed and scrubbed with a brush, and it's going to be hard to do that with the oil cooler separator off, the head off, and all that, because I don't want to get any water down in the engine. But here's the brushes I used. You can see how goopy they are. I also just used a flathead screwdriver. So I got to just vacuum some of that stuff up, and see all the junk on the floor and all over me. Ugh. But yep, so we're just gonna vacuum that stuff up, and then probably clean up where that gasket goes for the oil cooler separator right there. Vacuum that out, and I think we'll be pretty good. All right, so got that pretty much done. Looks like I forgot a little bit there. I'll have to get that. So next is we're gonna power wash this tomorrow, and then we'll polish it, and hopefully it'll be as good as that one. So I think it will be. I think it'll turn out just fine. So yep, that is the plan for that. So I also kind of cleaned up these. That's the heat shield for the exhaust. And then these two things that go on top of the head, I cleaned those up as well. So I think we're in pretty good shape. All right, so first goal for today is to get the oil cooler put back together and get it back on. So I've got my alignment tool, I've got all my gaskets and O-rings and everything, and my housing. So we are going to work on getting this together. So first thing will be is getting off all the old things off of here. And then there is a plastic spacer in here that has to go on here, because this housing no longer has a lip like the old one did. Replace both those O-rings and then get it shimmed up. So, yep, that's where we are. Okay, so we've got everything together, and we're going to go ahead and put it on. So we'll put it on loosely, then we'll put our tool in for the OPRV and our alignment tool. Make sure we get it all aligned. Then we'll tighten down the bolts. Then we can put the OPRV in. All right, so I got it in there just finger tight. And you can see the alignment tool. You can just slide perfectly fine. So now all I have to do is just torque those bolts down 15 Newton meters. Or not 15 Newton meters, 15 foot-pounds. 20 Newton meters is what it was supposed to be. And then we will put the OPRV in, and I am still waiting on my sending unit that has not arrived yet. But then we'll be done. Okay. Everything is torqued down to 15 foot-pounds. So in the Haynes manual, I didn't look in the actual shop manual itself. Maybe it does say in there. But nowhere does it give the specification for the oil cooler housing bolts. But what I did do was I went online, and Erna, who is the German guy with the English subtitles, his videos are awesome also. He had it at 20 Newton meters. So that correlates to 15 foot-pounds. So that's what I did. And then the oil pressure relief plug is 33 foot-pounds. So that'll be the next thing to go in, because let me see if I can show you. So everything's in. Nice and easy. So I will put my relief valve in now. All right. So I decided to put the oil filter back on now because it just seemed like it's going to be easier to get it in now before everything else gets put back on. So I went ahead and did that. Yeah, so then the next thing that I had been avoiding was these grounds over here. I wish I would have thought about this before. So if you put the lights up, you have easier access to it. I'm such a moron. Should have done that when I went to clean them. I'll have to see if I have easier access. Let's check this one then. I don't know if that's really going to make a difference. No. Because it's still right down in here. So, I mean, maybe a little easier. But, yeah. So, if you're ever cleaning the grounds on this side, make sure you put the lights up. And that'll make life easier for you. Well, I was dreading getting these wires on. I was avoiding it as long as I could. And, I mean, it literally took a minute to get them back in once I figured out to pop the lights up. So, yep. Ground wires are back on. Alright, so we decided to take those ground wires off, clean those. Looking pretty clean. So I just gotta brush that off under there. I got the screw or the bolt sitting in some evapor rust because it was pretty rusty, so probably let that sit overnight in there, but I'll clean that off, and then we'll get those back on there tomorrow. And then I think that's all the ground wires in the engine bay done. I'm pretty sure. So, awesome. Okay, so we got that contact cleaned off. Next, we're going to start, I guess, you know what? I might take that back off. I guess I'm going to have to paint it. I don't have any silver paint or anything. Maybe I'll just paint it black. The other stuff's black in here, so we'll see how that looks, but it's got to look better than the rust. So, work on taking that off. Alright, if you remember, I said I was going to clean out down inside there, and I had an idea, and I will show you what my idea was. Here is my idea. So what that is, it's just my shop vac, some duct tape over that end, plastic tube. I tried it first with just the plastic tube, didn't work real well because it was just so flexible. So then I just cut a piece of coat hanger on the outside so it would stay rigid, and then put duct tape around it so it wouldn't scratch anything inside there. And turn it on. Take it. Down in there, and even around the pistons too. Since it's just rubber hose, and get everything out from in between there. So, as you can see, it has worked really well. I don't know if you're going to really be able to see down in there, but there was a bunch of crap all down in there. There was some rust and stuff like that. That's all gone. So, success. So, if you ever, so that was, let's see, what is this? Hang on. I forgot what this was. Oh, here's the tag. Outside diameter is 1/4 inch. Is what that was. And then just cut a little piece of coat hanger. Some duct tape around it so it doesn't scratch anything, and you can get down in there and get that all cleaned out. And then get everything around the pistons cleaned out as well. So when you go to rotate it again, any little junk or anything isn't sitting in there, and then I'll wipe it out with an clean oily rag too before I rotate it, because what I'll do is I will put this back at top dead center. I bought a paint pen so I can mark my OT mark then, because it's really hard to see because it's rusty. So I'll do that, and then I will put everything at mid-stroke, so when I put the cam tower on, I can rotate it as much as I want and let those valves open and close, because they will not hit the pistons because it's at mid-stroke. Nothing's at top dead center. Then once I got my cam at top dead center, I'll go ahead and rotate the engine again and get this at top dead center, and then I'll go ahead and start doing my timing belt and everything. But at least that way I know the valves can't hit the pistons when I put the cam tower on. So there you go. Boy, am I glad I decided to clean that out. So, when I was working on this and drilling this out, I had broken a bit. And I thought, you know, it had flown off inside the engine somewhere. I didn't actually see where it was, but I thought I heard it. Guess where it was? It was down in that corner. So I am glad I decided to clean that out, because that would have really kind of bit the big one to have that floating around in there. That it could have caused some serious damage. So, luck of the Irish. Sometimes it's better be lucky than good, right? Alright, so I just wanted to show that tube. Look how dirty that, and that's not on the outside. That's on the inside. It's all that crap that came out of that that engine. I actually, up in this corner, right up in here, there was just a pile of dirt and junk and everything in there. So I got as much of it out as I can. It's definitely a lot cleaner. I'm really glad that I decided to do that and clean that out. But yeah, trying to think what I'm going to do next here. So as you can see, it's not focused real well, but I've got my paint mark at my top dead center down there. So I put the #1 piston up so I could make sure that it was the mark. Didn't get it right on the mark. It's actually a little bit, if you're facing the car, it's a little bit to the right of the paint. But at least now I'll have a real good idea where it is, and I know that it's just to the right of that. Yeah, I don't think you can, it's too hard for me to get the camera in there to see. Maybe you can see that. But yeah, so that's marked. Got the head completely taped off. Or I mean the block, and the piston's completely taped off so nothing can get in. And I'm wondering, I think I might be done for the day. Because the next thing to do is going to be getting the head off, or putting the head on, I think. I don't really want to start that today. So I think that'll be a project for another time. But we got a lot accomplished this weekend, so you know, I took that back off too. So we'll get that cleaned up again, and I guess maybe I'll paint it. Maybe I'll go find some silver paint. I don't know. But then we can start putting everything back together.